Welcome to Soccer Gaming, and in this episode we're going to go over the fastest way of getting your cooking skill to the max level of 200. We're also going to go over the best places to find the resources that you need to be able to complete these. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. Also, if you want to see more videos like it, feel free to subscribe because there'll be plenty of New World content coming out very soon. So without further ado, let's get this one started. So we're just going to start by saying that cooking is used in New World, and it allows you to craft foods to regenerate stuff such as health, mana, increase attribute points, increase luck, increase gear score, max gear score, minimum gear score. While crafting, it also allows you to craft bait or dyes or whatever you want to do. Cooking is kind of used for everything, and cooking is a very important thing. The later on you get, the further you get in the game, the more cooking comes into play. So we want to kind of just go over that when starting, and we'll also go over just what you need to know about cooking. It's also important to note that you need to know what tier of kitchen you need to use and what you need to look for. So if you're crafting a tier 5 food, you need a tier 5 cooking station, or if you want to save some money in tax, you can also use a campsite. So I kind of want to just go over exactly kind of what you're looking at, and there's 4 different categories of food, and they range from tier 1 to tier 5. So the first thing is going to be the recovery foods. The recovery foods are used to recover health and mana, and health recovery foods will increase you X amount of health depending on what tier of food you use for about 20 seconds, and then for about like X minute after, so maybe like 30 minutes after, you're gonna gain like 1% of your health every 2.5 seconds or something like that. So recovery foods are very, very good to just run around with non-stop, because if you get hit by a guy and lose, let's say 3,000 health while you're running to like the next section, running around the world, you're going to be increasing health as you go. Mana recovery is the exact same thing, and these are energizing rations or meals, and these are going to be generating your mana up at a certain percentage for a certain amount of time as you run. And so the recovery foods are something you want to have probably in your hotbar, just to be able to plop on about every 20 or 30 minutes depending on how long your other food lasts for. So the next thing is going to be attribute foods, and these are broken down in subcategories as well for strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and constitution. And if you don't know what those are the attributes that you have on your character as well. So these attribute foods will be able to help you increase your attributes. So say you're a 20 in constitution, you eat food that gives you a 24 attribute buff. Now you are at 44 instead of 20 that you were before. So attribute foods will increase the specified attribute for a specified duration of time depending on the tier of food you craft. These foods also grant you health and recovery while the food buff is active. But basically what I'm saying is you can get foods that help you attribute increase for your strength and dexterity both. You have ones that are just focus, just constitution. You can get some that's just focusing on one attribute. Some of them do several attributes. So you kind of just have to run around and decide what you want to do and what you want to use, and then find the recipes that you need. So to tell you how to find these, by default, you're given access to recovery foods, but you only have access up to tier 2 for attribute foods, tier 2 for gathering foods, and tier 3 for crafting foods. After that, you are going to have to go out and find the recipes, and recipes come from provision crates. You can get them from other places as well, but recipes don't drop from every precision crate, and it's going to be tough to actually get these. But keep in mind, these are tradable, and so you can go to your trading post and try to find the exact one you want to be able to help you with recipes. And a rough look of what contains in each tier recipe. Tier 3 recipes are about level 16 to 38. Tier 4 recipes are from 36 to 58. And then tier 5 recipes are 56 and above. So if you're needing a tier 5 recipe, you need to be in an area that is full of people or full of creatures that are 56 plus. So if you're winning in tier 5, you go into a level 60 area, open a couple provision crates, you have a chance at finding a tier 5 recipe. And to be able to find those chests and provision crates, there's a map you can follow, and it will show you kind of where things are, and that way you know where to find them or know where to look for them for. So the next thing is to have the cooking ingredients themselves. Now the cooking ingredients in New World can be obtained multiple ways. You can go and skin animals for meat, go fishing, loot provision crates again, harvesting crops on the farms, harvesting herbs for spices, and then just to buy ingredients from the trading post. And as I said before, there are spawns around the map, which you use an interactive map, whichever one you want to use. You can also find the fishing hotspots, the provision crates, the crops, the herbs. And this is how I find where I need to go to get a certain herb. So say I want to make a certain thing and it uses a certain herb like tarragon. Tarragon is a very hard herb to get. There's only 2 places you can get it. And then you know, oh, you can get it in Reekwater. So now I know, oh, I need to go to Reekwater and pick up herbs to try to get tarragon. So to get the meat and fish and crops, they're pretty straightforward. You just kill the animals and skin them. To go fishing, you just go fishing and then you actually salvage the fish. And then harvesting crops, there's going to be farms all around that they're going to have plenty of different crops, such as carrots, broccoli, squash, cabbage, all that stuff. And so you just go to the farms, you look for it and pick it. So the spices are going to be the difficult thing to get. And as I said earlier, that tarragon is hard to get because it's only in 2 locations. One of them being Reekwater, which is an end-game location. So to find these things, use a map. You're going to look for them to, find them in the herbs, but they are region specific. And I'm going to throw up the thing now so that you guys can see where you can get certain herbs, or if you're looking for just a certain herb, this is where you can find them. So I'm going to leave that up on the screen so that you guys could see exactly which herb spawns in what specific region. So now that we've gone over cooking and everything in general, we're going to go over the leveling of cooking, and then we'll go over it in a level of 1 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, and 150 to 200, and they're broken down that way because I'll show you exactly why later. But in order to level up consistently and efficiently, you're going to want to do recovery foods and stuff like that, just because they're so easy to get. I mean, every time you go out and skin an animal, sometimes you're getting meat, which can be turned into portions or traveling rations or whatever you need, light meals, any of that stuff, which gives you XP towards your level. The attribute in trade foods will provide more experience per food cooked for each tier, but the amount of time spent to trying to getting the raw materials you need, like a specific meat or a specific spice, like the time it takes you to go out and get those is going to take you a lot longer than it would be just to get the stuff that you normally get while just playing the game and crafting those. So as I said, it's broken up into 4 levels. We're going to go level 1 to level 50. And while you're here, you can make travel rations and energizing travel rations. You're going to get 24 XP per ration you make. These are very easy to make. A lot of them are just straight up stuff you get. The honey, you can get like stuff like that from every single town you go into. Make sure you're always grabbing the honeybee things. Also, you can kill anytime you kill wolves or pigs or anything like that. You'll get pork, you'll get meat, you'll get all that stuff while you're skinning them as well, and you can turn those in to the travel rations and energizing travel rations. So while you're doing that, you're basically gonna knock that out. You're gonna get all those stuff. You're gonna turn them into travel rations. You're gonna get 24 XP per ration you make, and then actually use those while you're playing the game. The next level is level 50 to 100, and in this level you're going to be using light meals and energizing light meals. You added on another thing to make, but this is also giving you 90 XP per meal instead of 24 from the travel rations. So, and then again, light meals going to give you better stats. It's going to give you better health and everything in the end. Then we're going to go 100 to 150. You're going to get satisfying meals with energizing satisfying meal, and that's you're going to get 300 XP. So Again, a little more difficult to make. However, in the end, you're getting more XP from it, and these are going to involve the tier 4 foods. Then we're going to go to the tier 5 foods, and you're going to have to look around because tier 5 foods obviously are difficult to get. That's why they're tier 5, but you'll be able to get these in provision crates. You'll be able to get them just running around if you know where to look. And this is where you're going to get the Hearty Meals and the Energizing Hearty Meals. And these are going to give you about 775 XP per meal made. Now, when I got to a level 150 in cooking, I believe I was able to make about 400, 500 heavy meals, and that boosted me another like 20 or 30 levels. So it's very easy to do. Cooking to me is like one of those things that like you level up quickly just because you have the stuff to make it and you just consistently make stuff, and that eventually just adds up in the leveling up. Now, a couple things to keep in mind when you're doing the leveling of cooking are the taxes and the settlement of which you're going to want to cook in the tier of kitchen in that particular settlement. So if you're wanting to craft a bunch of level 5 hearty meals, then you need to go to a place that has a level 5 kitchen. So make sure that you know where the level 5 kitchens are before you travel there. Use Azoth, and then you end up getting taxed with coin. Now, I'm going to tell you something very, very important, and this will save you a ton of Azoth, and it will save you a ton of coin. With cooking, you can cook the heavy meals, the satisfying meals, the light meals, travel rations. You can cook all of these with just a campsite, and you do not have to pay tax on a campsite. So once you make your campsite, which is 5 greenwood and 1 flint, you can throw that down, walk away from it. It sets the campsite. Then you can go up to it and create these things, gain the XP, gain the meals, everything, except you do not have to pay a single coin in tax. And over amount of the game, and over, especially once you get to like level 150, when you're crafting so much stuff, that this will actually save you quite a bit of coin. I know that I did hearty meals. I think I did like 200 hearty meals, and then I went out and did it in the camp, and it saved me a couple hundred coins. So definitely a good idea to do is use your campsite to do it for free. Last thing to keep in note there, you will need a tier 5 camp, which you will get once your character reaches 55. My guess is if you're already at the point where you're needing a tier 5 camp, you're probably a level 55 or harder already. Another important thing I want to tell you is to make sure that you do not use your higher tier foods when cooking. So pay attention to what tier of foods are where, because you'll run into a place where you need a tier 3 food, and then you'll just need 2 tier 1 foods. But if you're not paying attention, sometimes you'll get a tier 3 food, and then you'll get another tier 3 food and another tier 2 food, and then you're wasting those tiers of food. So make sure that you are using raw foods where you can use raw foods, and then make sure that you're using the correct tier in the correct place when making these.